Hey, what's up guys? Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. 2019 is wrapping up, and since I've already put out a video of my favorite gear items that I've used from 2019, I want to talk about some of my less than favorite gear items and just kind of share like some honest things that have taken place while using these gear items. And you know what? Not everything that you take into the backcountry is going to be amazing and awesome, and the money you spent on it means that it's the perfect piece of gear for you. And so I want to talk about how some of these pieces of gear that I've been using, even though I may love them and they really are great, there are aspects to them that have been less than ideal for me, even though in the field it's still easy to manage and it isn't like a deal breaker to the point that I'm not going to use that piece of gear item anymore. But let's jump into it. I've got like 5 or 6 different pieces of gear to talk about. And the first is water filters. This is the Sawyer Micro Squeeze, and I'm going to talk about this in addition to the HydroBlue VersaFlow. The Micro Squeeze is, the more time that I get with it, the less happy I am with it. Basically, this just clogs up really easy, and it doesn't backflush as well as other filters that I have used, namely the Sawyer Squeeze, the bigger version, the bigger brother to this. And that may end up being the filter that I use more so in 2020, but we'll see, because I still love the HydroBlue VersaFlow. Now, if you remember back to September when I took my wife to Kings Peak, we had an issue with that filter, and this is the miss with that particular filter. They are not as transparent or make it as visible for the consumer to be able to know ahead of time that these Smart Water water bottles are not the correct thread size for that particular filter. And I understand that it's nearly impossible to get a thread of a filter to fit every different style of bottle out there. But with Smart Water bottles being as popular as they are, my hope would be that at some point they are able to make a change so that with that filter, it works better to have it screw right on top and to be able to drink out of the filter directly, which a lot of people do now, and not have issues with the bottle getting stuck. And that was the problem that we had when we were literally like 10 miles from camp and I needed water, and if it wasn't for another set of hikers that had a filter on them, we would not have been able to get water. And so that was an interesting trail experience this year. It taught me a lot about making sure you have some kind of a backup and all of that kind of stuff on the trail. The next piece of gear that I want to talk about happens to be this Z-Packs quilt right here. And I gotta say, this is really an amazing piece of gear and I've been very happy with it. But the issue is, I feel like with this particular quilt that Z-Packs is trying to go to the point of making everything so lightweight that it's compromising the end quality of the product. And that has to do with, I don't understand why they have to use this really, really thin, tiny shock cord for the top of the quilt. And the problem is it doesn't hold as tight as a thicker shock cord would, and it's just not gonna last as long. And that to me is an issue. And it's kind of funny that they would use really thin shock cord here, but then on the pad strap buckles, they're like the big gaudy kind of buckles that if they just wanted to reduce the size of these and then add the larger shock cord, like those would be things that would make a difference in the overall experience with this product. The other thing that is, as I've had other cottage company style quilts available to me to use this year, the stitching quality of the Z-Packs quilt is definitely subpar, and it's hard for me to get excited about it, even though like it hasn't had any flaws with it, it hasn't fallen apart, it hasn't come unraveled or anything like that. But the issue is when I look at a $300 plus product, I would expect that the stitching would be basically perfect. And I know I talk a lot about UGQ, but UGQ, you look at that product and the end quality to the user is just spot on. It's beautiful. And that's not something that I see here. Like, for example, looking at this right now, I've got a loose thread coming right out of the quilt. And over time, that could potentially pose a problem with this product. Is it so bad that, well, Devin, why don't you just send it back to Z-Packs and say, hey, fix the quilt? I don't think that that should have to be necessarily the case with the product. And I'm gonna keep using it. We'll see how it continues to hold up. But it's things like this that are a miss for me for all of the different gear items that I have used that I've not experienced from other particular cottage companies that I've been able to work with and use their products from this year. The next item that I want to talk about just really briefly that was a miss for me for 2019 is the Nemo Equipment Hornet one-person tent. I no longer have that tent. I ended up selling it to a friend of mine and hope that she just really enjoys that for the trail time that she has out on the trail. But for me, it was a no-go. Just fabric was way too thin. It wetted out, and there were some design flaws. If you go back and watch my review on that tent, it just wasn't the right product for me. And since then, I have acquired various different pieces of gear that I've been more excited about than having that one. For example, this Sierra Designs Sweet Sweet 2, which you're gonna see here on a trip that I'm doing next week. And that is just a better product for me than having something that tries to save as much weight as possible. And this is a little bit heavier, but it should be a better product for me and the conditions and scenarios and environments and things that I find myself in here in Utah. The next piece of gear to talk about, and it's difficult for me to even talk about this because I genuinely love this company, but it has to do with the NOC Vecto. About 80% of the Vecto bags that I've had, because I have now had 5 of them, 2 3-liter bags, and then a clean water bag, and then 2, so maybe even 6 of these because I've got a brand new one right here. The issue that I have had with these is almost every single one of them, except for a couple, has had a pinhole leak in it. And it's either been here right on this seam or it's been somewhere around the top of the bag. I haven't had any issues with the bottom. And this is the 2018 version. This isn't updated. This is the updated 2019 version. I've got another one of these that I bought because they were on sale on Amazon or whatever. And so this is one that doesn't have a leak in it. But being out in the field and potentially doing any kind of water carry and then finding a pinhole leak in these it's frustrating. And Canuck has always stood behind the product. They've made it right in some kind of way or another. But it's frustrating when you love this product so much and what it is and how much easier it is to gather and carry water, and then just has that little tiny leak in it, and then I have to put a patch on it. Just hate doing that kind of stuff. And I hope that they can figure out a better, higher percentage of quality that comes out with their bags in the future, so that these bags that are just really amazing, I love them, and I still would stand behind saying that they probably are the best water bag on the market. You should get one, but that has been an issue that I have had with them, is just little pinhole leaks in the material. The next thing that I want to talk about, and I don't have it anymore, and I know that I said that I would continue using it, but I decided to just go ahead and sell it because I just didn't want to use it anymore, and that is the Black Diamond Distance tent. It is a single wall tent. You guys saw my review. Very not impressed with that particular tent, mostly for the fact that it had really poor ventilation issues. And I couldn't get up the courage, I guess you could say, to want to get back out into the field with that particular tent, knowing that it was probably going to rain on me again and just not be an ideal experience. And so I didn't want to put myself through that. And there's other tents that I have here behind me that I really would rather use in the field than that particular tent. So I may get an opportunity to test the new and updated Highlight from Black Diamond, which would be really cool. But that Black Diamond Distance was a major miss, a major fail for me for 2019. hopefully the other people that are out using that particular tent are having a good experience with it and a better one than I did. If you watched the review for this pack, the Osprey Levity 45, you know that I love this pack. It's probably one of the most comfortable packs I've ever carried. It is incredibly lightweight, but it has issues with the fact that the material on the outside doesn't have any stretchability to it, and the water bottle pockets are just a major downside for me. And so I encourage you to go watch the review that I did on this pack, but man, Osprey could do some redesign stuff to this to make it a lot better, that makes it more approachable to what a lot of cottage companies are doing, like Waymark Gear, who I absolutely love, where you've got really great designed water bottle pockets. It's not over-engineered or something that is just like, hey, we're a pack company and we should make something that is really flashy and big and woohoo. That's what I feel like kind of happened with the Levity, for them to say, hey, let's get into the ultralight market. And then there are aspects to it that didn't get as much attention to it that I feel like could be a lot better. And I know a lot of people have really enjoyed this pack. And for me, it really is one of the most comfortable packs that I've ever carried. But it has a few of those things that have just not been as awesome. So I'm going to be carrying this for the next little bit. We'll see, probably take this out on student trips. So guys, that is my list of gear items that have been misses for 2019. Not necessarily fails, like I said before, but things that I wish could have been a little bit different as I was out testing and preparing to do reviews on these products. So thank you for watching, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe and hit the bell notification to get notified when I post new videos. I hope you have an awesome day. We'll catch you on the next video. See you later.